it's gonna show up over here. Yep, there we go. Look at that. TikTok Live. Isn't that exciting? Oh boy, isn't life great? Hello, Internet. So I just decided I needed to update my layout for this. So this is currently both unfinished and it's slightly more even. I need to do something about the light here though. Yep. What's up, Zach? And yes, I got nothing better to do. Why am I streaming Minecraft? Well, let me answer that with the following. My life's kind of boring. I got no clue what I'm doing. Uh, I appreciate that you're gonna walk down, but I quit drinking ever since I discovered. Chat, you're gonna want to write this down. Gamersups. Use code I'm poor. No, no. I stopped drinking a little while ago. Partially because I ran out. Mostly because I ran out, but you know, to each their own. Want to keep drinking, doing your thing? Go for it. I know you do it anyway. Oh, I needed that. So the thing I don't understand, I guess not that I don't understand, but I'm not a huge fan of when it comes to the TikTok Live. Why am I seeing that I've got 18 total viewers. Just a total, okay, 20 now. There's a total of 20 people who have even seen it, swipe past, whatever. How do I have 500 likes? There is no way those line up at all. Before I can be accused of buying likes or however that, or whatever people might want to say, let me just throw this out there. If I was going to make something up, I have a lot more viewers. I try to make it at least a little bit more consistent. One of the things I do find so in person, I will talk your ear off, but when it's just me in a room alone talking to my screen, stop texting me. it it's just weird, man. I don't know how to sit here and talk to myself. I also don't think I like where I'm going with this. Oh. I also don't believe I've streamed in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Well, thank you for asking. No. So, in the create mod, well, I guess it's not just the create mod. The create mod's kind of a basis for everything. So, in the create mod, we can. You know what? As a matter of fact, let's a little world tour right here, right now. You didn't ask for that, but now to explain everything, you're gonna get one. So if you hate it, that's kind of on you. So we're gonna start. Also, if you do want a world tour, which you probably don't, but if you want a world tour, I have a video on my YouTube channel that's about the hippopotamus. Have you ever seen the whippopotamus? Sorry, Zach, I'm gonna switch. Can you guys keep it down? It's kind of loud. The hippopotamus tour. Oh, that's an excellent point. Have you ever seen the picture? It's an old picture. It's two hippos pulling a like a horse-drawn carriage. It might be an old picture. It might be AI generated. I don't know. It's about to become my profile picture because I think that's hilarious. So let's start with two things. One, just completely clear the inventory. We're going on foot and by train for this. I also recently ran out of cactus, so I'm having a little jank farm here. Map time. This right here, this little white area, this is world spawn. Nothing exciting going on here. I walked over to this section where I'm at now, and I established a small base. A small base, which, by the way, for me, includes chests and furnaces, and then that was it. I have not actually built a proper house. I've just kind of carried a sleeping bag with me, and then very occasionally, I'll find a bed or steal a bed from a village, and I'll have that at where I'm working. But what this does here, quite simple. Trains, like this one right here. It's a Scottish train, or at least it was built in Scotland. The original example I'm using was built in Scotland. It will. There are two of them. They alternate days. One will bring cobblestone in one day, and then it will travel off the following morning. And on that very same day, its twin will come back through with another load of 4 cars. Each car carries, I think, about 90 to 100,000 cobblestone. It's a little overkill. That's how I like to do things here. So what happens is that cobblestone, it gets fed underneath here into these, into these 3 item vaults. Those item vaults go 2 directions because this is where you unload everything at the beginning of the factory. I also have it set up so that my tunnel bore will unload here. I don't do it too often, but it does work. So here is where the cobblestone and, well, most of the general blocks go. So gravel will also come out. Gravel goes into here, goes up to this slope. Let's backtrack a wee bit. Cobblestone comes into this large item vault. The cobblestone is then fed up here. It's ground down in using these crushing wheels into gravel. Gravel is then collected here. I have a way to get gravel out directly through here. It doesn't, or put it back into the machine through there. Gravel is then fed up through here, more crushing wheels, and then down into the vault here. So I do 9 stacks at a time when I do this. Once again, bit overkill, but it's fast, and this way, the idea is I can take, if I ever have to, of course, I can take these items out, like here, this gravel goes up into, this is supposed to be kind of a hopper. It looks pretty bad. I don't care. It doesn't matter because in this specific example, or if I have it switched on, I could have gravel going across through to here, and then this will wash it. I just recently removed the funnels here, and then it would be washed right here, and then put into this big monster here, which is where I store all my minerals. That would be unloaded from the tunnel bore, which right now just isn't being used. We continue on down here. So when sand is ground using crushing wheels, it produces, well, when gravel is crushed into sand using crushing wheels, I should say that, it produces clay, flint, and sand. Now, I don't have a use for millions upon millions of sand, or not sand, millions upon millions of gravel. So I have it in here. I don't know why I have storage upgrades, but it goes into a void upgrade. So everything will be destroyed after a little while. The same, I think, goes for the, nope, screw it, infinite clay right here. We'll never really run out of this stuff. Now, the sand, I have it set to stop if this vault ever becomes too full. But basically, what it does is it drops the sand down here. It gets haunted twice as fast using 2 soul flames, and then that turns it into soul sand. That soul sand can be washed. My backpack has a magnet upgrade on it, and I will just pick things up constantly. So I should turn that off. But the soul sand gets washed into nether quartz and gold. I had the gold set to filter coming off right here. I recently emptied it, but, you know, that's how much you get just passively, I guess. I have this set up just fast, well, slow enough. It just trickles out quartz and cobblestone, which are both fed into this machine off this conveyor belt on the back. The cobblestone is just dumped off of the chute from down, or out of the vault onto the chute, or onto, not to the chute. Stick with me here. Onto the conveyor belt from back there. These are all set to export, and they're all currently off. Everything is supposed to be controlled using threshold switches, but quartz and cobblestone can be combined using the mechanical crafters to make diorite. I somehow ended up with blocks of quartz in there. I will fix that someday, probably. It's a little slow here. This is the only way to make quartz using the create mod, so I'm just kind of stuck with this sort of slower crafting uh, mechanism here. But what I do on the other side is I have basically this exact same thing going again, and its whole focus is to get quartz, which I can then, I think I'm using 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's 6. There's 6 vaults over here, mechanical crafters over here. So it's it's twice as fast as this one is. So basically, I have 9 sets of mechanical crafters crafting diorite constantly, and then this diorite is fed underneath on, once again, mechanical belt up into this. So I am constantly filling up with quartz. Quartz can then be mixed with cobblestone. One quartz, not quartz, one diorite, one cobblestone, diorite. Or not diorite. One diorite, one cobblestone, 2 andesite. Trying to rush through this because I'll be honest with you, I think Zach is losing interest. Tell me if I'm wrong, assuming you're still here. But this andesite is then mixed with lava and more diorite. So we go through quite a bit of diorite to make tuff. Tuff can be ground down. That's why it has a conveyor belt going across here and over to these grindstones. Tuff can be ground down and it will produce flint, zinc, gold, iron, and copper nuggets, all of which very useful. Well, copper, you already kind of get in pretty large quantities, but everything else pretty reasonable. Now, I also wanted scoria being produced over here. Why? Not too sure. The important thing, however, is that this will request sand from all the way down here, and just rides the belt, fills up this vault, and then this vault will empty out onto these belts. These belts will haunt that sand into soul sand. They are currently overflowed, so it just sits there and it doesn't destroy these. And be frank, if it did, sand is infinitely can be produced from cobblestone, and cobblestone is not too difficult to produce. We will tour that facility, probably not next, but eventually, because my I was a am a I'm a genius. Simply put, all this is where I'm at over here. This red arrow. Cobblestone is produced way over here. That's about, I want to say, we're looking at 5,000 blocks, especially when you factor in this little zigging and zagging we got going on. Make sure to hydrate and stay healthy. Excellent point. And remember to use gamer subs. Drink gamer subs. Drink gamer subs. Don't forget. No. I don't have a code. uh, I do have a problem. I have a lot of gamer subs. Anywho, thanks for that. That probably wasn't your intention, but thanks for that, Alien Boy 143. Yeah. So if I continue this scoria. That all goes into this vault. I can take it directly from here, or the scoria. I could also have it set to go out this vault, and it'll just go back over here. And it will also be ground down using these crushing wheels. And the scoria produces zinc, just has a chance of producing zinc. And that's what we like to see. These trains, they just come and go through here, picking up whatever as they do. I like it. It makes it feel more lived in. And then we've got this guy coming from one of my manual mines. There's some things like lapis you have to mine by, well, maybe not by hand, but you have to actually mine. You can't just produce it in a machine like any of these. Now, when you mine, you get copper, iron, gold, redstone, zinc, and then mostly, I think, you get these crystals, amethyst crystals, a little bit of diamond, a little bit of diamond, a little bit of emeralds. Not too many, very rare, in fact, which is why they're very poorly represented. And we'll get to that side in a moment because I am almost done with this section. Now, back to this main conveyor belt. This is what produces a good amount of my minerals. Sand is once again requested from this vault right here, and it travels all the way down here, about 35 blocks or something like that. It's picked up by this vault. I also have it set up so I can pick up clay from here if I have to. That sand is washed into clay balls. Those clay balls are put into this vault, and then those clay balls are both compacted into clay blocks, collected in this vault, and smelted into hardened clay or terracotta, depending on how new you are to the game. That terracotta is also used, it can be ground down into red sand, and then that red sand can be crushed, or not crushed, but pressed into red sandstone. You don't use that too much, which is why I have a smaller supply of that. But if we go back up to where these clay balls are coming from, you can cook the clay balls to get bricks. Bricks can be crushed, pressed into brick blocks. That's where this vault's where we store those. Or I take it down and can I store individual bricks in this chest right here. Now, let's go across the tracks here. We've got a couple walkways to go above the trains. I wouldn't stand on. If this were real, I wouldn't recommend standing on it when a train's coming by because it is just great. You're gonna get that smoke right in your face. And then that train's making a sort of fun thing there. It's not supposed to be that dark. But ignoring that, I actually think one of these guys is back. Nope, that's my passenger train going by. So my brain is everywhere when I'm doing this, just so we're clear. I usually have like a video playing on the second monitor, but right now that's where chat's at. And also, I feel like I'm not as entertaining if I'm trying to watch a video or listening to some audio while I'm playing. Anyway, uh, ores are dropped off here, underneath here. They're fed up into a vault underneath here, and then it continues on up to that vault. That vault can either, it has a set list of items that I do not want, well, that I do want pressed. So these are anything I could find from like end cities or the general ores. I just do not want them to be, I do want them to be crushed, so they're set to be denied coming from here. If I throw any of my netherite gear, not my wings, but if I threw my netherite gear into this vault, it wouldn't be ground down, it would go into here. However, this chute has a filter on it set to accept everything this denies, and only accept the things that this denies. So, once again, if I threw my netherite in there, it would go to the secondary area, it would get washed. That doesn't do anything, so we're fine. The crushed ores, and obsidian too. Obsidian can be crushed here, and it'll just come out here, I'll pick it up. It's not a huge problem for me. But the crushed ores also produce they produce chunks of experience, nugget of experience rather. So I have two setups here. One, it kicks out at least 32 at a time to this barrel, and that provides me a backup of experience in case I ever need to repair my gear, because you can just take a handful of nuggets of experience and say 8, and boom, gear's all repaired. And that's why I carry a full inventory stack of that at a time. And then once that builds up, if it can't come out here, it just builds up inside the vault right back here. Once it hits a stack of 64, I know this is going to be backed up, and it'll just come out here. It gets drained in this disenchanter, and that's how I have almost 80 buckets of liquid experience. That guy's back. Is also where I keep my mechanical crafter, my large mechanical crafter, where I can make crushing wheels. It's not permanent, but it's become a little permanent. This is also where I can make train boilers, like you've seen on my trains, or my chunk loaders. The chunk loader mod in here, in this mod pack. I currently don't have any. I don't have a good means of getting a large supply of crying obsidian, which is required for it. If you want to know why I don't have a good supply of crying obsidian so far into my world, I'll explain that in a minute. Maybe, probably. But, yes, on this side, you've already seen everything. Cobblestone all the way down into diorite down here. That diorite is then mixed in with more quartz to produce granite. Do I need a huge amount of granite? Nope. But I wasn't producing any, and I was building out of it for a little while. I don't remember where. I was using a good amount of granite, though, so I just chose to produce it. Now, there are some blocks that aren't required in these factory layouts. So, like back here, this. Uh-oh, that probably won't burn down. I think actually I have fire tick turned off. I should have fire tick turned off, because by now this probably would have burnt down. So I'm probably going to leave it alone. But cobblestone comes out of this vault onto this belt, and it gets smelted into smooth stone, and then that helps me get a nice supply of smooth stone that I don't have to go out and mine with the silk touch pickaxe. It just makes it a little bit easier on myself. Now up here, once again, taking cobblestone, you can take cobblestone and you can haunt it into blackstone, which I'll actually need where I'm going, so I'll hold on to that, because I hope I don't spend an hour doing a world tour. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm going to go until I feel exhausted. So this may well be a 4-hour stream. It might be 8. It really depends. I just felt like streaming tonight, and I'm going to go until I'm tired. That sounds like a terrible idea, but it's not the worst thing I've done. And then, as you saw, limestone. Limestone can be generated by honey and lava. And, well, I mean, it's the same as any other cobblestone farm. It just forms, and then they get mined. And I have all that set to be picked up by this minecart. Well, it gets picked up by the regular hoppers. They go into the minecart hopper, and then that just pushes it all into this chest. And that is my entire supply of limestone. I don't use it nearly as much as maybe I should, especially since now I have a farm running for that is set up to go infinitely. But yeah, so this is. Oh, didn't like that. Game did not like that. But yeah, this is my spawn area. Not my spawn area. Spawn is, like I said, about 100 to 300 blocks that way. But this is my starter base. I wanted to get all of my stones, my minerals, whatever. I wanted all that processed in one area. Get it done. Make sure it was all just... Don't you just love when the game does that? I get a bad feeling that it's actually just what could be producing that? It's not like If I go back this way and I hear it, yeah, that's a mob somewhere. Oh, that is so annoying. Let's never do that again. If we can avoid it. Oh, that tower right there, those are rows. Not rows, but layers of dripstone farming. Just done on a mechanical bearing that is controlled by or spun by a windmill. Very slow, doesn't need to be fast. These don't form fast enough to need to be fast. And then, once again, it's got a little item interface here, spits it all out into this water stream, and collects it in this vault. I'm pretty sure I have that vault set to destroy items after so many... I have no idea how many, but just after a lot. Hopefully I never need to actually craft all that down. I've been planning on building something for that, I just haven't. Now, I like to move my Wilbert. This is Wilbert, by the way, in case you haven't seen that video on my channel. This is Wilbert, named after Reverend Wilbert Audrey. I don't know if you ever heard of that guy. Kind of rare, I guess, for anyone to have. You know, not too famous guy, I don't think. He wrote he was an author. He wrote books like Teaching Your Children to Pray and Thomas the Tank Engine. I mean, hello. How have you not seen or heard of Wilbert, Reverend Wilbert Audrey? Now you might not have heard of Wilbert because he was never in the railway in the books, but not in the books. He was only in the books. He was never in the movies or the show or any of that. What? Now, nope. There we go. Can I? There we go. All right. So I have okay. My entire world, or at least the high traffic areas, are a 3-line main line, and that is so that my trains will follow this line right here in the middle. Cashew, keep it down. What's my cat? His name is Cashew. There's no source of him. Look up orange cat. That's him. That's what he looks like. I might post him someday. Probably not. I like to keep his privacy. Cashew is not being a menace today. Thanks, Zach. You are still here. Jesus, it's been 32 minutes. 33 minutes. I mean, live says 35, but that always adds 2 for some reason. Anyway, this is a town I built that require... It's not much of a town. It's mostly facades, brick facades. And by mostly, I mean this is the only corner that looks decently hidden. But I've got brick walkways going over the tracks. There's a tunnel on this end. I assure you, Zach, the town is actually quite big. Once we look at... Well, let's look at the scale here. This area... Alright, cowboy. This area, big area. See that? Big square. See this one over here where we were just at? Little area. Tiny square. Little rectangle, really. What we have going on here are all the farms that require a player in the area to function. So we have my wood farms over here. Once again, not decorated. Very bad at doing decorations, I am. But, we've got nine of the basic wood types in Minecraft. So I produce all the double trees are over here. Anything that doesn't big square does not equal little square. This guy graduated elementary school. I'll tell you what, he made it. That's that heavy machinery operator guy. Yeah. So any tree, uh, well, any tree that can be grown either in 2x2s or is just weird is on this end. Except for spruce, because spruce will change the dirt. I don't want to grow spruce in 2x2 because they will spread pods all over, and I think that looks ugly. I want to be able to control the ground over here once I decorate it. So I just decided I wasn't going to do that from the get-go. These trees, they grow. When they grow up and out, like I think in the range of 4 to 5 blocks. I'm going to say four, on average four. So I grew them like this, so I wouldn't lose my propagules. And then cherry just had to go in somewhere. I'll be honest with you, I don't like cherry. Pinkwood, it doesn't really fit into my aesthetic I got going here, where I'm trying to produce an infinite amount of ridiculous stuff. And then I've got the other 4 wood here with a lot of bamboo growing in the middle, because bamboo can be crushed or compacted into the bamboo blocks, and then they're put out here, and trains will come through, and this is just where they get picked up. This right here is going to be the Blaze spawner farm. Now, spawners can be picked up using the create mod if you enable it. I did because I'm lazy. Well, I guess I created more work for myself in the overworld. But if I didn't do that, then I'd have to go I'd have to go to the Nether. Once again, lazy. This is a small boiler, just a level 4, which is more than enough to power. Well, back in the day when I had crushing wheels underneath here to grind down the blazes, but now I don't come here very often. And then these belts, they actually have a uh, impact, zero impact on the amount of stress used. They're just flat. They spin. That's the entire thing. Over here, once again, more spawners. We saw magma cubes. The magma cubes spawn. They see these iron golems, and then they try to attack the golems. The golems break them down into their 1x1 sizes, and then when they're 1x1, they fall down into this section, and they get eaten by the frogs. And when frogs eat magma cubes, if you've ever played Minecraft, you'd know this. Well, I guess if you played the more recent updates, you'd know that I sit down in this spot, and then the spawners should turn on. It's really loud, so I don't like sitting there, but the magma cubes get close to, and then they just get punched. Broken down, and then those chains are there so that the magma cubes will fall down, or not, the small magma cubes will fall down. There you go, and then they get eaten by the frogs, and we're gonna get away from there. But the small magma cubes get eaten by the frogs. They get turned into frog lights, and then this minecart exists just to go and pick them up. I have no use for them right now, so I'm not gonna worry about that. Nearby is my bee farm. This is where I breed the bees, collect honey, collect honeycomb. Bees are a very manual farm, at least when you're trying to get them bred. And thanks for liking the vibe, the live. Thanks, guys. And then yeah, honey can be automated. I haven't I haven't felt the need to just yet. But yeah, what we have here is what did I name this area? I called it Spobberton. Why? I don't know. I think I picked. Actually, I think I wrote it all down over here. So wood spawner town be just any word I could associate with the farms in this area, and right now, I mean, those are really the only ones. So I broke down to Oh yeah, you can go through and edit. I took out all the. I broke down to each individual letter, not including repeats, and I just organized it until I found something I could throw together and make it sound like a real word, or something people might actually call a town. We are going to continue now on Wilbert. Wilbert's got a whistle. In case that interests anyone. My cat is just sitting on my desk. He's watching the time. He's looking at the clock. Not on the stream. The clock in the corner of the screen of my monitor. I haven't filled in the walls or the roof of any of these tunnels. I'd like to, just to make the whole world look a little more finished, a little more cohesive. Oh, there goes the... That's a passenger train. And I missed it. Now, the reason Wilbert isn't part of other trains is because when I built Wilbert, I built him specifically so that I could control him going both forward and backwards. So we're just going to back onto this track, and we're going to go on this little side, on this branch line, if you will. Backwards up the branch line, of course. Top of the hill. Why the top of the hill? I don't know. But this is where I have my my wheat farm. And an animal train for some reason. I think I was going... I built that for the sake of moving the frogs around, and then I couldn't get rid of it. I felt the need to keep it going. So it's like a... It is like a zoo train at this point, I guess. Or a circus train. This area up here, this is where I get hyper experience. We've got a board right here that displays the amount of everything I produce. So this generator behind me, it's a size 18. So I'm producing 294,912 stress units, and then it tells you the amount I have left over is 168 or 67,000. I'm using less than half. And I'm producing blaze cakes infinitely here. So I've got, well, it's not infinitely. It depends on my other factory. Is that going? Okay, thank goodness. All right. It depends on my other factory producing and a site, but that is also fairly infinite, so as long as they're still transporting, we'll be okay. Lava? Lava is full. Lava is measured off that tank, although I have 3. And then I also produce glowing sacks here. This is all kind of technical. I'm not going to get into all of it, but basically, like, the ink sacs can be produced from wood. These jungle trees are grown. Like, well, they grow, they're cut down, they get spit out onto this vault, they come up here, they get cooked, melted, smelted, some might say, into charcoal. That charcoal in this mod pack can be crushed down into coal. That's not right. There's not supposed to be coal blocks in there. I should fix that at some point. That's going to be a minor problem. You see, that's more accurate. That's more right. The coal is supposed to get spit out onto this belt. It gets washed, and when a coal is washed in this mod pack, there is a 25% chance that it gets turned into an ink sac. Now, ink sacs, they get spit out onto here, they get haunted, they turn into glow ink sacs. And glow ink sacs are needed for hyper experience. We will get into that in a minute. Probably several minutes, but We'll get there. Now what we have up here, we have a slow cobblestone generator, which goes down into a smelter. This cooks the cobblestone into smooth stone. Once it turns into smooth stone, it's immediately moved down here, where it will get haunted and turn into infested stone. That infested stone is then placed down, broken by these drills, and the infested stone, when broken, turns into... Did I never place? I did place it. Okay. There's supposed to be a middle line right here. You can kind of see it's there. The glass is doing its job. Infested stone gets broken by the drills, turned into silverfish, and then they drop down 11 blocks, leaving them on half a heart. These deployers are set to attack. They will punch through the floor, hit the hit the silverfish, and then the chunks of experience are collected in the vaults, and every 32 is then kicked out into this big one, which then get drained into this container right here. I can store up to 2.3 million buckets of experience, bearing in mind that one bucket is... How many of that is 4 buckets? Let's find out. 4 buckets of experience are equal to... You know what? Let's really test it. More drains there. Make sure this is disconnected. 4 buckets of liquid experience into me. 44 levels. It's obviously not 1-to-1. It's not going to be 1 bucket is equal to 11 levels every time. That's because the XP spread falls off as you level up, as you go higher. So 1 bucket, that'll probably get you almost to 30. Cash, could you stop touching the keyboard, dude? Hang on, he'll figure it out. There we go. Okay. That experience is needed to make hyper experience. It's just pumped directly into this basin where it's all mixed up. It needs lapis, which is brought in from that from my Jubilee, which is back there. That's not going to be good. But the train is called Jubilee. That's it. Actually, it has a specific name. I just cannot remember it for the life of me right now. But I'm interrupting the train schedule, and that's going to be a problem. So let's jump off, get out of the way real quick. I usually travel by train, but not Wilbert. Not recently, anyway. So there's no real convenient place to take Wilbert. I'd like to... get him way over here. I'm about to crash. Oh, okay. Yeah, not very realistic there, because you're going through the engines. Come back. And now we should be out of the way. Now to make sure, well, hopefully help that not to happen again, we'll just throw a train signal underneath there. And the train signals are helpful in making sure that that's topped off. Train signals help make sure that trains don't crash into each other. However, this Jubilee should be the only train coming through here. This is actually based on a real engine, because I'm just so cool. So interesting. I based this off a real train. What do you think? It's just Jubilee. Okay. I had it named after a real train. I cannot remember its name now. I just remember it was like a Jubilee class. Or model, whatever. lapis is supposed to come into this vault. It gets spit out here, and then these arms take it, put it into the basin, and we get liquid hyper experience. Now, 52 buckets. That's going to be more than most people are going to need, especially since I'm playing on my own. And that is also considering that none of this is pumping into the blaze burners right now. Blaze burners, when given an enchantment guide, turn into enchanters. When they're given hyper experience, they glow blue. When they are given regular experience, they just glow yellow. And that is how I ended up with Respiration 4, Projectile Protection 5. Mending doesn't get Mending 2. That doesn't really stack. And then Unbreaking 4 and Aqua Affinity. Aqua Affinity, similar to Mending, doesn't have that added effect. That's why Vein Mining, Mending, Aqua Affinity, and Silk Touch are all over here. You can't really upgrade those enchantments. While Protection, Feather Falling, Protection, Projectile Protection, Sweeping Edge, Respiration, Depth Strider, Swift Sneak, nothing there yet. Sharpness, Smite, Fire Aspect, Fortune, Unbreaking, and Efficiency. They all can, so they all do. I have a wall of enchantments here. They're labeled because you can't actually figure out what they are based on the item within the book, or not within the book, within the bookshelf. You can't really figure out because it changes based on where it's at in there. So, yeah, I have those labeled. I haven't gotten every enchantment yet, but I also don't think I need every enchantment because I don't see the need for an enchantment like Potato Recovery, which does exist, by the way. I haven't quite figured out the design for the ceiling yet either. I quite like this one because I've used the blue already, and I really like the cyan terracotta. I'm trying to do this room first, and then based on how I like this, I can kind of expand out to the rest of the factory. And then I have a big nether portal set up for my own convenience when traveling. We're going to get back over to Wilbert. And let's get going. Now, this field is harvested by that. Nope, I'm about to crash. I might actually crash this time. Yep. Whoops, that happens a lot. I can't lie. This guy doesn't go anywhere, and I miss my turn all too often. That wheat gets harvested, puts into that tower, and then I have a train that comes by. Not right now, hopefully, and collects everything from there. Nope. Let's get back on that middle line, and we're good. All right. So we're going to continue on down. I'm going to build bridges someday as well. I have it all labeled. You see that back there? That is a crane. If we go down off the edge here, this track wraps around a little bit, and we have my docks. I have these jetties built so that my trains can actually continue down. And theoretically, if I had boats, more than one boat that actually worked, I could unload from them. And I guess that also depends on realistic physics in the game, which simply just isn't happening. I also must light up this area, but that's for another day. I really don't feel like doing that. What I will do is take this boat. This boat works. Got a horn, everything. I've got flatbeds there that I could theoretically unload those shipping containers onto the flatbeds. When we come out this way, we will find a monument Now, the monument itself, that's naturally generated. The farm, however, I built around it, uses all create mod components. If we can't find, there we go, coming up to the station now, we'll load through those 3 item interfaces underground. Now, the problem with using trains to make boats is that I can't see underwater because the boat renders as an object that you can't actually see past. Well, in first person, but the train is actually on invisible tracks, and unfortunately I have to have this here so that you can see it. Now, I have this set up in such a way so that when I'm sitting way up there, guardians will spawn, they come up here, they can go through the scaffolding, and then these fans blow hot air. The lava heats up the air that they're blowing. It actually cooks the guardians, and then these backpacks pick it all up. So that's how I get the prismarine crystals and shards that come from the guardians, and then guardians that don't die from hot air, like that guy, they turn into the rock cod, and then every other guardian should be cooked, producing my main food supply. I don't have to come here very often, and I have this set up to only export full stacks at a time. I'd have to actually sit here in AFK for days to fill that up. I don't think I will. It doesn't really seem necessary for me. And if I try to get rid of this, I will never be able to drop this. So let's just ignore it for now. Get away from this. I will say one downside to having a train, especially as long as this one is, it kind of hits the dock. Just a little bit. I couldn't get the turn wide enough. So once we get close enough, you see we clip the back and the front a little bit. But once again, this is Minecraft, not real life, so it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. Now I do want to show off. This is one of my trains. It is Mavis from the Railway series and the show. I'm actually kind of proud of how I managed to get this texture on the front because it is a connected texture. It likes to do some. It likes to look weird, and I don't have any of it on me, I don't think, so I can't actually demonstrate it, but it likes to turn yellow. Just a solid yellow. I think it looks really bad. But we're done there. And now I'm going to have trouble. There we go. Now let's continue. Ignoring the spiders and the creepers everywhere. Let's go left, continuing along the main line. Let's get back on that middle track so we don't interfere with anyone else. I don't think tunnels should curve, but some of mine do, for my own convenience, mostly. Now this is an abandoned building in my area. Not a fun place to go. This is actually a corn, grain silo in my area that exists to load trains off of semi-trailers. And then right there, you can see my version of Salty, but he's cyan instead of red. And then there's Oliver. This train actually collects all of my farmed produce and brings it here for storage. And perhaps someday even for uh, production, but that's not very likely. I've got fish, and that's far too convenient for me right now. This is my farming area, or one of my farming areas. This branch line is where I produce corn, and this giant field right here. I grow onions over here. I have cactus in this section right here, and I have tomatoes right here. For some reason, the tomatoes are showing up as brown. I'm going to ignore that. They're all harvested by that combine, put into that silo, and then that loads two train cars. I was going to build a farmhouse there, and that was going to be where I both kept Wilbert and where I lived, but I just didn't get around to it yet. I'd like to, but I'm a weird kind of lazy. There's supposed to be a wall right there. Also looks like that one of those train cars is missing its lights. And this is another one of my branch lines. It's kind of the main branch. I have a farm, a couple factories, and where I'd like to have kind of an infinite lava pool set up over here. It is not done. This right here, dust, the weird gap in the middle. This is where I produce dust, glowstone dust, gunpowder, redstone dust. They all follow the same idea. Most of these, this is basically just a large facade that hides a couple small factories. Like this right here, it grinds down blaze rods and andesite that's dropped off. Andesite's mixed with, I want to say it's mixed with nether wart that's grown in the next building over. That produces netherrack, which I could farm. I just don't. And then that netherrack is ground up into cinder flour, and then that cinder flour gets sprayed on. So different potions give different effects. So the night vision potion sprayed onto the cinder flour will give me glowstone dust, a lot of it. Harming potions sprayed on the cinder flour give gunpowder. And then I believe these are strength potions. Strength, yep. Potion of strength, that gets sprayed onto cinder flour and it produces redstone. Why it's not, I am not too sure. Seems to me that it's just kind of producing it slowly. Or there's just a ton of blaze powder in there. There's way more blaze powder in here than I think I'm ever going to need with this. And I think I should have this set to 1. Really slow it down. And we'll throw that back in there so it can get ground up and destroyed. I don't need that many blaze rods. It's really excessive. But you can see now it's actually producing redstone dust. And then if I throw this just like that, it'll go right back up there. And that's wrong. That is so wrong. Please tell me. Okay. There we go. Let's try this again. There. So now it should get ground down. There we go. Now next door, I originally had a huge farm for for mushrooms. I have no need for that many mushrooms, so I think they collect in here. This is after, by the way, all this. It's huge. It's really wasteful, actually. All I need are a couple spider eyes. Oh, and then this whole thing runs off of 2 medium-sized blaze, not blaze, these are garage doors, which I have in the mod pack. Different color garage doors don't connect, which makes this really annoying for me because I'd like it to be a two-tone thing, and it's not. I believe over here is... Nope, over here. There. So we're good. Now I should probably continue on Wilbert because Billy's the name of my dust train. He gets confused when you're in the way. So I need to continue on past here. I will probably kidnap all those villagers someday. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, and these guys too. They're both very close to two, count them, this one, and then there's one way back there. Two pillager outposts. Cuts left across this river. We go uphill a little bit here. Most of these tracks are kind of on flat ground for my own convenience, really. Even though it can be a little inconvenience trying to get them laid out sometimes. Once again, a tunnel that's not finished. I'll get to it. Maybe. Someday. So the whistle key and my sprint key, I mean, that's just kind of how it's set up, but they're the same thing. So that's why I'm always pressing the whistle. I'm not trying to. That's a carrot field back there. This one on the right, beetroots. This one on the left, potatoes. And this combine is driven by a giraffe. I really like that visual. I think it's hilarious. And then I guess this section I ran out of andesite to lay down for ballast, so this is about where the ballast ends for the railway. Now, up this hill to the right, one of my infinite lava pools, which I was trying to... I have to go back and mine those. I was trying to make it out to be like a big volcano type thing. Very early in development for that one. I think it's going to be neat to have an engine like this one. This is Boko, by the way. Is a I don't know. I believe the train's actually it's like a modified Kobo design. I don't know. I feel like I heard that sometime. But yeah, he's gonna get filled up here using all these, or all these tankers will get filled up here, and then Boko will pull them all the way to the other side of the world. By the way, this isn't the entire thing. This branch line goes way up here. It's actually about as long as the original. It's about as long as the original main line, which is probably wrong, but it's also mostly unused. Like the main line is well traveled. I should probably make sure I'm back here, and then let's get into the free cam. Just make sure there's no one coming up this hill, because if there is, I will crash. There's no way to avoid a crash coming up this hill. It seems like we're gonna be clear. We'll stay up here for a second. You can see Wilbert's heading down the hill. And then we're going to continue back. Nope, wrong button. This button. There you go. We're going to continue back on down the rails. Zach, you still chilling in the chat? I couldn't blame you if you said no. It's been another half hour since I last asked. Well, I mean, if you're not, then I'm gonna start talking about him. Zach. Zach is my neighbor. He lives about, I don't know, 13 houses down. I had counted at one point. That meow was not my cat. That was from the village. We're gonna try and continue on over. How about you, Callie Leech? Callie Leech? Callie Leech, that's probably it. You may not be in the... You may not be here anymore. Which is also okay. So I don't normally travel this way, so I have missed my I have missed the junction. Can I please press the button? Alright, there we go. They aren't the easiest to control sometimes. Once again, my own fault. I did, after all, design these guys. I missed it again. Don't text and drive. What? Cassie, would you like to speak to the people? All one of my top viewers? Come on, say something. I think there's something underneath the ground back there. This place right here is the cobblestone farm. It's broken. How did it break? That's really unfortunate, guys. I mean, it still works when it's broken. Let's go into free cam real quick, somewhere quiet. So you see how these are loaded? You see how they're, smooth sandstone? You see how this one isn't? Yeah, I have no idea how that happens. I'm willing to bet it's pushed out. Yep, it's pushed out extra down here. These are broken. At least there's still lava sources in there. But it's not supposed to do that, in case you hadn't quite worked out. It's supposed to be the solid thing all the way through. And might be broken in many places, actually. This is where I produce all of my cobblestone. And I'll be honest with you, be a little upset if it's broken. And I can't see it. Okay. Why? So I think when Cashew stepped on my keyboard earlier, yep, you turned it off. You're supposed to be... There we go. So that's full. And then these will only turn on once that vault and this vault are empty. Now this one automatically unloads. I believe it should unload for 7, 10. No, it doesn't unload this one. 7, 11. It unloads 11 stacks at a time. I don't think this farm produces 11 stacks every second, or however these transfer. But I can tell you right now, it's probably not working to its maximum efficiency. I'd almost like to turn it on, just for the sake of my own sanity, really. This is going to annoy me. I missed. I wonder if lightning strikes are a factor. If I invert it, it should turn on. Alright, so... yeah, so the only section that's actually working are these two right here. This whole thing should be doing this. I will fix that again someday. But not today. Not today. Can we see F3 and G? Chunk borders. So it's loading a 3x3 area. And it's just barely inside this chunk, so it should be loading this chunk, this chunk, this chunk, and then this chunk right here. So it should be loading everything necessary to make this function properly. I wonder if when my my world's low on memory, if I get kicked out and... is this an individual chunk right here? So, yeah, I'd believe it if this chunk corrupts, breaks, whatever. And then that would be why this one just never seems to stay working. I'm not going to fuss about it right now, though, because I am still producing enough, and the firearm does work. The only difference is, when it's working as efficiently as it should be, I don't actually see the messages as frequently in my chat. I mean, yes, like you might have seen it earlier. You might have saw it earlier. These guys, first of all, that number on the left, way bigger. And then, uh-oh. So the number on the left will be way bigger. And then I don't see them as frequently. This is also seems to be where I stopped lighting up my tracks. I do plan on filling in the rest of this area at some point. I just haven't done it. Look at that, though. That's nice. We can see Oliver is at the area. He's unloading. Actually, should be completely unloaded right now. This wall needs to be finished. This tunnel needs to be finished. Now my cat's sleeping on the mouse cord, so that's great. That's okay, though. I have the... I have the smart... or the sequence gear shift, that's what it's called. It's called a sequence gear shift. I have the sequence gear shift set up so that it will turn every time the chunks are loaded, which just makes the world look more immersive. It makes it seem more like someone's actually doing work over there. There's not a whole lot to do out this way. There's miles and miles of the main line where there's just nothing going on. I also, by the way, I did a playthrough of create arcane engineering. There's Arthur, by the way, from the TV show. I did a playthrough of create arcane engineering where I did this, main line extending all the way across the world, and I had one giant factory that produced everything. Like one island, basically, I took over and turned into my own private factory production area. I'd love to actually do a world tour of that and upload it, as long as the server my buddies and I were playing on is up at the time. That's just a loop right there. Don't know why I have a loop. I think I was planning on going out that way at some point. But this right here, as ugly as it is, this is actually a diamond farm. So yep, you can see it in funk. Using the same. Okay, I can't be seen. All right. That's once again the wrong button. Using the same function we had earlier, the logs are smelted into charcoal. Charcoal is crushed or compacted into coal. Coal is compacted into the coal blocks, and then coal blocks and lava get pressed into diamonds. That is the entire farm. Like, so this entire building is for. And out of how many do I have here? 3,000. Okay, so 2,000, 3,000, 8,000, 2,000. I'm probably 15,000 logs there, probably more, maybe pushing 16, 18, any of those. It takes, I think, 80. It's loud here everywhere. It takes 81. So 1 from 9 coal blocks, or no, 1 diamond from 1 coal block, 1 coal block from 9 coals, that's 9, then 1 coal from 4 charcoal, so that's 4 times 9, 36. That's per coal block, so we're looking at 36. Oh boy, we're looking at 36 logs per 1 diamond. So let's do a little quick math on the phone calculator right here. Quick math. So we had 18,000. Divide that by 36. 500. We're looking at 500 diamonds from that that being as full as it was. We're not even halfway there, and we're not going to stay for this, because there is more of the world to explore. And by explore, I mean show off. I've seen all this. I was there for all of it to happen. If we continue right, left, right under the mid, and there we go. Angel Serrano, how you doing? Little retaining wall I filled in there. This bridge, like a miniature black version of the Golden Gate, except ugly, and trains. And did I mention it's small? Now that's a railway loop. That's for miniature rail or miniature tracks that goes out, way out into the mountains. I didn't do anything with that. I was going to. I ended up just not following through with that. So once I got into the big trains, it just felt unnecessary. It makes sense for like multiple people developing a world, but I'm not multiple people. Now this area right here, that nice expanse of trees right there, that's gonna get clear cut, flattened, and I'm gonna turn that into a rail yard. That's gonna be where I park trains. Uh, but I'm gonna park trains. What else am I gonna do? Trains. Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be mostly trains. Rolling stock. There's not going to be a whole lot going on out there. It's really just a decorative piece for storing extra trains, so I can just say I have more trains. This is where I take all the logs produced, well, up until these guys fill up completely, but I take all the logs produced way over at the Spobberton station, Spobberton town, and then, yeah, I make logs, I take logs, I strip them, so I get stripped logs, and then, so, here, we get a better example over here, because on this side, we keep a barrel of logs, we get the stripped log, and then we get the planks, and you only get the planks after you've topped off all of the, there we go, so 41,000 stripped logs, and then you fill in the planks, and the planks aren't, well, actually they are full, because this is where I have my barrels being created. I, however, don't need them now, so I'm going to steal that chunk loader, like this tiny little retaining wall I did here. And let's continue on. So soon, I think I'll actually have I'll have Arthur coming through with the log train. I'm not gonna stick around for it. I'm gonna get out of the way. And we'll continue on down the main line. I don't know why I curved the main line down that way. It doesn't make it more efficient. It makes it less efficient. So as if I didn't survey the land before building, which I didn't, to be fair, but this is my mine. The mine exists in two, well, I guess it's one mine, but there's two means of access. So if you climb up this way, you kill the wandering villagers. That's nice. That's 18. At least 18 wandering villagers. I have a small narrow gauge train I can use to come down. Please don't die. Please don't die. To this giant mine. Ooh, I need this actually, because this is my only mining machine. I should keep that on me at all times. I also don't know why it gets laggy sometimes. It just kind of does that. There we go. So we're out. But all the items mined downstairs get put onto this. They're all vaults and crates and everything. Minerals, like not the minerals, the ores and all the important stuff, they come over here. If it can be crushed down into, like if they can be crushed down into ore, into the crushed ore variant, it'll come through here. The stone will go off that way, and the mineral, the ore, will come this way, and so will the XP, but the XP gets drained and pumped into whatever train's waiting. I also have a mine shaft, well, not mine shaft, I have an elevator right here that doesn't currently work, mostly because I haven't built it yet. This tunnel goes underneath a factory. Now, the factory itself does not have a very realistic bridge. Uh-oh. Let's see if we can't pass. I'll let Billy go past. And we'll continue back on up. Now, this isn't a very realistic tunnel, I don't think, but this is even a less realistic bridge, because I haven't finished it yet. It's missing quite a lot. This is actually... This is where I produce both... I don't... So this is where I produce. What do I produce here? String and spider eyes, and I guess nuggets of experience as well. But there are 9, pretty sure. Yep, 9 monster spawners here. Each one of them are loaded whenever I'm standing roughly there or on top. Actually, I think they're all currently loaded. And then the idea is that they all get kind of pushed into this area, sucked down, hopefully sucked down using the magma blocks there. I probably just need to put more... I probably need to put more signs up there to stop the water so I can have more full blocks. Well, bubble columns. I can have more bubble columns sucking them down here so they actually get hit by the stone swords. I think I have, yep, spider eyes coming in there. I'll just top myself off there. And then I'm supposed to, not supposed to, I've been meaning to funnel everything into this. And I just haven't. It kind of one of my many flaws. I'm a little lazy. I haven't finished that because I did everything I needed to do with it, and then I stopped. What was going in there? Alright, nothing now. Let's get out of here. Alright, so the mouse is in an inconvenient place because Cashew has chosen to fall asleep on the mouse pad. So I've moved the mouse farther to the right, making it much more inconvenient for me. We're going to continue on down the main line, and we're actually coming to the end of our rail tour today. I mean, we have to get to the end, but it will be the end of our tour once we get there. This is another giant bridge. I don't know if it's going to remain a bridge. It will probably remain a bridge, or become a bridge at some point. And then this will be my works. When I say works, I mean this giant area here. It's going to be where Boko comes in. He's going to dump all the lava somewhere. I don't know where. That lava is then going to be turned into... Cashy, do you remember? I can't. It's going to be turned into obsidian. That obsidian is going to be turned into crushed... It's going to be ground down into crushed obsidian. Really? Or is it obsidian dust? Oh, powdered obsidian. Alright, whatever. And then that powdered obsidian, sprayed with some lava, will be turned into sturdy sheets. Sturdy sheets then, are going to be used to craft, probably not fuel tanks, probably not even cooking guides. But they can be used to make train schedules. Not as important, but they can be used to make train casings, which I can then use to make all the train components, which is actually fairly important to me. So I can automate that. I'm sure by the time I get to automating train casings and maybe all the blocks that come with it, I won't need them. So that's the unfortunate part. At that point, this whole world will probably only exist as a means for me to show off. I mean, what else do I do? Once I have the whole world kind of built out like that, there's no real need to build more, have more farms produce. Like, the whole reason I like to create mod, not the whole reason, the whole reason I built the trains and the giant railways is so that I can have a sprawling world where, I mean, this is a big map. let's get out of a tunnel so maybe we can get a better look at it. But this is a huge world. Get there. Okay. That's going to continue to make a noise. Can I stop that real quick? So, from wherever this is going to end, around here, all the way down, around, snake all the way through, up to here, continuing down to there. Or if you wanted to continue up this way, this whole stretch of line, all of it exists so I could make the world feel more real, more lived in. Because if I build everything in one spot, like how I have all my my factories that require active, well, not active, but they actually require a player's presence to function, I would get nothing done. If everything, well, let me rephrase that, because I would definitely get something done. If everything was done in one spot, my world would probably run to a halt, largely because of all the moving textures in the create mod. It's really impactful on your computer, especially when you play like I do. There's probably more effective ways to do it. I just quite like moving things around like this. It makes it feel more realistic, more industrial, which I generally like. But what you may not know is that from like I measured it specifically for the dust factory, but from the dust factory over to, well, the dust factory is over there. The dust factory over to the spider farm, that that is about a 10-minute, 8-minute, 10-minute uh travel trip based traveling by train. And the thing to consider about that is that's a whole Minecraft day, pretty much. Now, if I wanted to, I could make the trains travel faster. I don't think I'd want to do that. It feels kind of unnecessary, especially. I don't know. I guess it would depend. If you look at the average, like the speed of like your average train, like your, let's take let's take Mallard for example. Let's sit down. Let's look at Mallard and see how fast Mallard can travel. I think that's about 140 miles an hour or so. Or even, let's take 100 miles an hour, for example. The Flying Scotsman, first train to travel. I'm not arguing with this. The Flying Scotsman was first train to travel 100 miles per hour with confirmed evidence. So, 100 miles an hour is about how many kilometers? I think it's about 160. It's 160. I'm not gonna actually calculate that. Let me call it 160. That's 160 kilometers an hour. So if I'm to break that down per second, we're looking at 1,600 kilometers an hour. So, okay, now I'm going to get the calculator. 1,600 kilometers per hour. That's 16,000 meters. No, it's 160,000 meters because a kilometer is 1,000 meters. Yep. So if you're actually going to break that down by how many, that's 100 miles an hour. So that is 60 minutes. That's 2,600 meters a second. Or a minute. 2,600 meters a minute. Yeah, 2,600 meters a minute. Now, how many seconds are there in a minute? About 60. So you divide that by 60. You're looking at 44 blocks a second. 45 blocks a second. I'm really hoping I'm doing this math right, because otherwise, people who make it this far into the video, because I am going to upload this VOD to my channel, Affected Hippo at youtube.com, by the way. That's 45 blocks a second. When you actually nope, configure gameplay settings. Let's find trains, manual train speed modification. So these, when I'm driving the train, I guess moves only 75% of the speed. Oh, train stats, train top speed. All right, so that's 28. My trains go uh, only 28 blocks per second. So you're looking at over double if we're looking at Flying Scotsman. You also have to consider most of my trains aren't Flying Scotsman. I also have no idea what what all the math comes out to for Flying Scotsman. But even if we assume, let's go with a little bit less than that. So that 28, that's only about, that's less, that's about 60%, 62% of the speed of Flying Scotsman. And these trains, they're already moving pretty quick. Now, what if I had them going twice that speed? When powered, I should say that. Not even twice that. Let's have them go a little under that. Let's go even. Let's say I have them going 45 blocks a second. Could you, or 40? Let's go 40. Could you imagine the speed of some of these guys moving around? It'd be really nice if I could get my passenger car or my passenger train coming through here. But that travels around the world. Put that in there for now, just to get it out of the way. 45 blocks a second coming and traveling through here. In fact, configure. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. What are the powertrain stats, by the way? Oh, powertrain top speed 40. So it's actually not too far off from Flying Scotsman. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I was doing that in real world time, not Minecraft time. Real world time, 24 hours is 24 hours. Minecraft time, 24 hours is 20 minutes. So let's go back into that. What is the equivalent of 1 hour to, one real world hour to a Minecraft hour? Well, a full day cycle in Minecraft is 20 minutes. That's 3 full days in 1 hour. So in Minecraft, let's see here. To travel at speed in Minecraft, and we're going to use the number 45 just to make it easier. Man. Now I'm starting to feel dumb. I have to think in front of people. We're looking at two. Alright, so that's 24 hours. Yeah, so Minecraft time travels 72 times faster than real world time. 3 days, which assuming it's still regular amount of hours in a day, 24 hours in a day in Minecraft takes place in 20 minutes in real world time. So, but the seconds apparently the exact same for us. Doesn't make any sense to me. Kind of, because it's put in a way that it makes sense for us. Anyway, so that 45 blocks a second, if we're going to make Minecraft consistent with... My trains are going 40 right now, so let's put it this way. So Flying Scotsman travels roughly little under. It's like 44 continuous 44.4 continuous blocks per second. Let's put it at 45. In fact, no, let's put it at 44. We'll slow it down even, just so we can understand. We're not like overselling it. That's 44 times 3, because it's about... Actually, no. I shouldn't say 40 times 3. It'd be like 44 times 72, really. Because that's about how fast it would be to... I don't know if I can even do that in this game. It's just got to be greater than 0. This is about to be awful, by the way, guys. I'm going to turn this up to 35. And this, instead of Flying Scotsman traveling at 40 blocks per second, in Minecraft, to be consistent with real world and Flying Scotsman, somewhere in the middle, we'd have to have trains traveling at 3,168 blocks per second. Have any idea how nuts that is? That's teleportation in this game. Let's go back a second. Train stats. Train top speed. We'll put a regular train top speed unpowered at let's put it at 30. And then at that, we'll have them turn at 25. I'm just gonna turn those up. Let's bump this powered train stat up to 5 too. Let's say they accelerate faster. Let's save changes. Let's see how awful this is. I could control, but I think my game might crash. These guys come in yet? Are they even powered? Do we know? I don't remember. Maybe my are you even powered? He might not even be powered anymore. That's also got a lot of distance to go. Maybe we can see one of the twins coming in through this way. Maybe they'll load in. They should. I mean, the other guy left, and they usually pass each other right around the fishing village. I don't have an exact number on how long it takes to get from my mineral mill, which is what I call this place. This is mineral mill. Maybe we can hear it, maybe not. I also, hang on, save. I might have to reload the world to make sure those are updated. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if this makes a noticeable difference. Sweet. It's this guy. I gotta put some torches down. see. Is a train in here just yet? Nope. I also one thing I huh? All right, whatever. You might not be powered. It could also be a really high, really far distance to have to accelerate up into. Let's find out if this train is actually powered at this point anyway. If he is, he's not. So you know what we're about to do? Tank my coal supply for one. I'll do a stack for now. I don't know. I don't need to. Oh, man. Okay. Is this filling in? I maybe maybe I'll go over to the other platform. Is my game pause? Cassia, did you hit the not the game pause? You muted my game. What the heck, dude? A little paw hit the mute key on my keyboard. No, he's running. If he runs in his sleep and disconnects my keyboard, I'm gonna throw him. That's not true. That's not true. I'm not that mean. There you go. So he's there. They're both going to unload, but there should be plenty of space now for us to see. This is, by the way... Nope. Powertrain. Powertrain's traveling at, the speed of... I don't know. I don't think it's light, but it's high. Let's see. What is this? I don't have the speed of light memorized. All right. So, good news. Speed of light is almost... It just does feel kind of fast, doesn't it? Are there not? You know what? There aren't lights in this section of the train, are there? Let's ride it. Let's see how fast this goes. Let's really hope this doesn't corrupt my world. It really shouldn't. I can't imagine why it would. Also, it takes... Oh, you know what? Hang on. Configure, gameplay. What am I doing? This train can't actually travel at that full speed because it takes so long to get up to speed. Oh, God. Yeah, this is awful. This... I see why we don't do this. Ah. There we go, Fish Village. Oh, there we go. Gone. Oh. So this is the equivalent of traveling on the Flying Scotsman in this world with the layout I have, assuming the Flying Scotsman can accelerate 500 500 meters a second. I should get off this. I should really get off this. Assuming Flying Scotsman can accelerate 500 meters a second. Let's turn that way down again. So let's just break that back down to 50. However, the powered train top speed, we're going to set it at 45, which in real life is about what Flying Scotsman should be, and then we'll leave trains turns at that. So save that. Whew. And then let's just have a nice, reasonable train ride. This isn't Flying Scotsman, by the way. I think this is my... It's not my 8K. What is this? Oh, this is the... I think it's the Merchant Navy. My Merchant Navy. In green. Why green? I don't know. I had a lot of lime dye lying around. Cashew, could you please stop that? Big stretch. You ever... So do you... I know how... You stretched. So you know how you'll say big stretch whenever a pet stretches or whatever? Do you ever do that for yourself? Do you ever stretch and then just go, "Ah, big stretch for me"? I did that while I was scratching earlier. I had an itch. I had an itch. I was scratching my itch, and I went, "Oh, good itch, good one." Like I was a cat. I was looking at myself in the mirror when I did it, which might be a factor in it. And anybody else weird like that? Anybody else do that? I don't know how. By the way, I don't know exactly how fast we got from one end of the world to the other. What I can tell you, we were teleporting in Minecraft in the overworld using the create mod. Now, if we take... Why can't I copy and paste this properly? Paste? Alright, so I can't copy and paste the speed of light into this for some reason. It's just not letting me. That is quite annoying. Am I out of my seat, by the way? I shouldn't be back here. I mean, I'm glad I'm sitting, but oh, you know what? It was the it was the other one. It was probably stuff in front of the tracks. So the funny thing is, I thought for some reason, as fast as as my train was going, that I was traveling somewhere near the speed of light. That's a ridiculous idea. I was only traveling at 1/1000th the speed of light. I don't know why I thought light was slower than that. 1/1000th. That's 0.001% the speed of light. And You know what? Now there's gonna be a... I'm stuck. The nice thing about trains... I guess I should say the nice thing about Hyper Experience is that... my gear is all kind of overpowered right now, but also the... Oh, the trains aren't solid. Where's that guy at? I hit him. How the heck did I hit him? Where's he at? Boom. There's another one. Boom. I thought that zombie was a skeleton. He was trying to shoot at me for a second. Let's go ahead and get this guy turned on. We don't... So I carry multiple... I have 3 backpacks on at all times. This one with... I say all the essentials, but all the, like, the convenient tools for what I like to do. I dislike how this car has no lights in it. That's my fault, from when I designed it. But I don't feel like disassembling it anymore and fixing it, because I will lose all the blocks in these doors. Not that those are hard to replace. I just don't want to do it. But I guess the other factor would be I'm lazy. Look, we're gonna come back to that. Really, I'm lazy. I don't feel like doing that. Why doesn't this train feel like continuing on this stretch? Is there just a... There shouldn't be anything up there. What's that? That's one of these coaches. There's absolutely no reason for the train to think that there's one of these up here. You know what that means? I've broke something. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I went too fast. I do like how big these are. It makes it feel very... I shouldn't say very. It makes it feel intimidating. And yes, this is my Merchant Navy class. Drive. This is how they did it in the Polar Express. Now, you're not there. You don't exist. And I'm not relogging, so we're just going to ignore that for now. Train turns left. Train turns right. This area, I'm not going to light up. I just need to put down some torches. What are they called? Mega torch. Yep. Throw some down there. Probably need 3 or 4 in this area. Mega torches apparently have I think it's a radius of 64 blocks. I mean, it's 128 across. Well, 129, I guess. I don't think they count the block in the center. I'm falling. I'm dying. I didn't die. That's embarrassing. You have any idea how long it had been since I died? Days. And it's over there. It's 1,000 blocks away. I don't think I'm gonna bother with that. And this is why we have the nether portals. Because many a times I have died. Manny Wardle, what? Ah, no. No, I won't take Mavis for now. This is the walk of shame, but worse. Also, why is my Manny Wardle stuck on the tracks? What's blocking his way? You see, this is why we listen. This is why we listen to the train signals. When the train signal tells the engineer, "Hey, we can't go this way," it's right. It doesn't know why. I don't know why it's right. Sometimes it doesn't know why it's right, but some it knows it's not quite safe. So thanks to the corpse mod, none of my stuff will well it should never despawn on me. And more importantly, you should never find a mob wearing my gear. So it shows I died here, but there's my body. The only downside is it doesn't actually keep those on, and then, nope, not that. Don't want that, and I keep chest plate and an extra pair of pants there. Why? I don't know. I also don't need that. So let's go figure out where while I'm here. I mean, let's take a second, waste some time and materials. Do I have any lights? Any of the Nixie tubes with me? There's a tree there. Don't you just hate it when you're flying and you hit a tree? Okay, I'll just toss them in there for now. What are you? Copycat Slice, you don't go there. Yeah, we'll take this guy and we'll throw it. Oh. What the heck, right here. Jubilee. Oh no, did the Jubilee hit those guys now? Which means they're probably sitting at the bottom of my hill. Oh, the hill. Which means they're gonna be this way. Oh, man. So, I'd like to thank Callie Leach, who hung out and asked, or I don't know if she was requesting it, but she did say, and I quote, the hippopotamus tour. I don't know if she was asking for a tour of the hippo, or a, why is this, yeah, okay, well, you can go in there. I don't know where the other guys were struck. You go through there? How about you? Is there a train stuck here somewhere? Train that I can't see? I mean, I should think so, because this is probably where the engineer's located. You know what that means? Now we reload. While I'm sitting here, I should thank... There we go. I'd like to thank my neighbor, Zach, for tuning in. Actually, the first thing he did was make a joke at my expense in the group. No, that's about to crash again. Make a joke at my expense in our group chat and say, "Is this guy really streaming playing Minecraft?" And then proceed to hang out for about half an hour and watch. Honestly, no clue why, but big respect to him for doing it. It can be fun, just hang out, show off what I'm doing, what I've done. And now we're gonna hang out right here in the passenger carriage and wait. One thing I wish I had done, one thing I'd like to do, I should say, is I'd love to play on a create mod world with people who love trains but don't like building them. I'd love excuses to just build trains and rail networks everywhere, all the time. Unfortunately, I don't really have a group like that right now. I mean, if I can find one that's going to be restarting their world, and more importantly, if I can find a group that's looking for a train guy, just hanging out, Spider-Manning on the side of this train. But that'd be really nice, for me anyway. If you guys know anyone, let me know. I've got a catalog of trains I've built. I've got even more I've stolen. No, there's a ton of train designs online too. I'm kind of just one of the many guys, one of the many train guys that just happens to play the create mod. And yeah, the reason I was carrying around all that green dye was because I want to make some cyan terracotta and just figure out how I feel about my. Man, that's what I was going to do. I was going to just check things off of my to-do list. I got this big clip. I've got this big clipboard here of just all kinds of stuff I'd like to get to. I'm on page 16 right now, working my Hyper XP farm. I have Hyper Experience. I have everything here, pretty much. The only thing I don't have is a building. I don't have a building. I would like to put the building around it, but that kind of checks everything else off the box. What do we have in the volcano? I have a lava pit. It's infinite. It's not filled up to the highest level, though, so I don't know if I can call it done or not. In fact, let's just add that to it. It's infinite. Just so I can show that that's done, and I'll remember that it's not quite filled in all the way just yet. So, the fishing village is really an extension to, I believe, the Guardian farm. I'm going to call it that good, because I don't need a ton of fishing. Now, I will say, fish farms, they produce a lot of interesting things. I believe this mod is called aquaculture. So you've got Neptunium ingots and all this fun stuff. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to, unless I can. No, probably not. It looks to me like this might be only really usable for fish. Because otherwise, I would actually quite like to uh, use these as decorations if I could use them for anything else. Let's find out. What do you take? Buttons. This thing is crazy, crazy cheap. How many buttons? I think it takes 5. Let's double check that I don't have any. I should have done this first. I have a few planks. Nope. fish hook. Wall guy. Can I put you? Nope. Can I put this? Nope. You? Does it have to be a fish? Do I even have fish? I have cooked fish. Can I use those? No. Does it have to be a fish? Do I have to kill a... Let's find out. Bluegill. Sweet. Got a bluegill. Guys, we went fishing. I caught a bluegill. Yes, it does have to be one of those fish, it would seem. Which is fine. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that. It's just that I don't think I have any use for that right now. Now, I don't think it's impossible that as I'm building out the world, or not the world, but building out the fish town over here, I plan to have it all over this area. Here, there, there. I might have like a footbridge over here. Or now that when I'm actually working on the area, maybe I'll actually build these 3 bridges, and then I could extend the fishing village up this way or this way, and have little walking paths on the sides of the trails, so I could basically expand that way. I could go this way, could go this way, but the further I expand, I really don't want this to be huge. I could do this, but it'd be copy and pasting buildings that are already over in this side, and that's, as much as I enjoy printing my buildings, it's not the craziest. But so the dockside town's not done. The Guardian farm is built. Oh. I'm missing a few things. Let's go. Trade materials farm. No. Depot. Wait, I think I discussed this earlier in the stream. I haven't done any of this. I also can't actually build a... I'd love to have like a station with not a station, a shed with an indoor roundhouse. And the nice thing about an indoor roundhouse is, as long as you keep, I'd have to build a turntable on the inside, and that's going to take up a huge space. But once I have it, I'll have room for this type of configuration. So obviously you've got to have one in, and then one that's just going to be, straight in and out all the time. But what you have then is the opportunity for a fairly entertaining... Now, I picked up enough tracks to do a 32 block. I also might have made some of these... No. I'm not understanding where I went wrong here. I should have only picked up a stack, but maybe not. Anywho. This type of space, and I'll have to make... This is only, what, 7? I'd have to make the actual space, if I actually built this, probably 4-ish times bigger. Basically, it would have to be almost at 2 chunks in diameter, because some of my biggest trains are 2 chunks long, almost 32 blocks long. Maybe. I think so. I want to say that the Merchant Navy is the biggest. Now, these trains will never be disconnected from their train. Keep it down. These trains will never be disconnected from their trains. This just be additional storage for trains that don't have a job. will say, however, this is going to be fun for me. Once I get that going, I have no idea how I'll build it either. I have no idea what that's going to be like. But once I have the engine sheds going, that's going to be great. I've built a create item factory. I've just been doing everything kind of temporarily with what I have on hand, or the machines in here. Like over here, for example. This is where I do all my pressing, those 3 presses. That's how I've made every vault I have here, pretty much. So I need to get these create item factories going sometime soon. And also, I'd like to have all these checked off, ideally before day 3,000. So that leaves me 728 days left. Nope, 722 days. I don't know where my math came from. I also have a bunch of crop farms. I haven't farmed rice, coffee, sweet berries, glowberries, cactus, flax. I'm probably gonna farm cactus at a dye farm, which I also need to build. Melon, pumpkin, haven't done those yet. Bee farm, tree farm town, spawner farms, blaze, frogs. There's not really much else going on there. I might get a. Hang on, I could probably squeeze in a zombie farm. If I can spell, it would be a zombie farm. And then the zombie farm, I think I would also cook them, similar to how I did the Guardians. So the zombie, and I could do plus ash farm, because the ash can be turned into bricks, and then those bricks can be turned into. I just have to set it up so that the train connect picks up the spider eyes and the fermented, and then the spider eyes can be crafted into the fermented spider eyes. I haven't. I really don't feel like it. This is pretty much done as far as I'm concerned, but I'm not gonna mark it off. JP, it's pretty done. That's not connected yet. It could be, but I could also be transporting it as experience. The reason I'm not transporting it as experience, A, is because nothing actually goes up there to transport it, and B, and this is a big one, I heard that when you actually put things into the liquid tank cars or into the tanks through the create mod, you can lose up to 75% of it. Maybe that might be a rumor. I don't know. These are a list of tunnels and bridges that need to be finished. I haven't finished them, obviously. And then what are we looking at here? Yeah, so yeah, it's a list of everything that hasn't been finished yet. So tunnels, no tunnels have been touched. Some bridges have been done. In fact, all the bridges, according to this, have been finished from the mineral to the wood mill. You know what that is? Here, up to there. That's it. Nowhere else has anything been completed. Maybe 2 from the wood mill up to JP, but I think that includes that. I hope that's already counted, but I think it includes like this long stretch right here. I think I did a bridge there and then I put something underneath there. I just kind of built a retaining wall along the edge of the tracks and called it good. There's nothing here. There should be some kind of bridge here. There really needs to be a bridge here. I haven't gotten to it. And then the stretch between these two, or this JP, and then up here is probably two bridges. Let's go ahead and document that. That's 2 bridges from JP to the works. Now let's get the tunnels documented too, because I'll keep forgetting about that, because there's a reason they aren't done. So this curved tunnel, that is part of the mill to JP. I'm calling that good. So I'm calling this long tunnel here, this bit of curve, and then this long stretch here. So that's another 2 tunnels from JP to the works. Counting that as 2. And then I want there to actually keep that space, so I gotta put a period there. The fishing village, I never specified. The item transfer between the boat and engines. I don't really think I'm going to take the items actually anywhere, so they can be processed. But yeah, you see how well I planned this all out. Roads, houses, everything else is pretty much taken care of. The volcano, like I mentioned, covered that, and then the Hyper XP, that's all covered. Did I go forward or backwards with this? I think I just ran all the way to the front, yeah. So I think I called the Guardian Farm. Mineral Mill functionally is complete. Hyper XP functionally is complete. Volcano, not functional, not complete. Fishing Village, neither. Bridges, never, probably. But the bridges are going to be as easy as I build a tunnel building train, and then I just put it to work. That shouldn't be too bad at all. This train depot, that's going to be an entire project on its own. Train material. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Yeah, so looking at five-ish projects that haven't even really been begun. 6, but the bridges, that's 4, 6, 8, 14. That's 20 tunnels alone. An additional 3, 5, 9, 15, 25 bridges that need to be completed. And when I say bridges, I mean like if I can find my key, because Cash is trying to stand on me, hide all my keys. I think I include things like, yeah, I guess kind of like this. So where it's a hard edge here, where where I plan on building retaining walls, that's not finished. It likely won't get finished, at least not at this point in time. What I do need to do is, I don't want this on me. I think I'm going to take some of my bricks and I'm going to go and build some more facades around my my manual farms in Spauberton. Do I have any? I don't have any dye up there. I would really like to take most of this. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we're going to take all of this. That's all going to go over to whatever it's called. Cashew's walking on me, and honestly, it's kind of starting to hurt, so I'm a little distracted right now. There we go, 44. I need just a little bit more. I'd like to hit a full stack.